What's going on, everybody? Welcome, episode 23. It's the Jordan episode. There you go, 23.
Yes, Jordan. Specifically Jordan, 23.
And on that note, we're going to be talking about Avengers Doomsday. We're going to be talking about movie news, and we're going to be...
We don't ever talk about Avengers Doomsday.
We're going to be talking about, because there actually was, Warren, I'm sure you've seen it, a huge change in DC's future with the Warner Brothers news. Netflix was a shoo-in at one point. They wanted to sell to Netflix. Paramount has been ever consistent, and it sounds like Netflix has actually left the deal now, which, this is always a really big deal for us specifically. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff with Warner Brothers, but DC obviously is heavy what we talk about, and we just got this whole new world with DC. The implications are... questionable. You just never know what's going to happen. Even this deal sounds like it's kind of questionable at the moment.
Okay. So did you see there was some leaked audio stuff?
I saw a leaked audio somewhere that they said this deal's never going to happen and we're going to walk away with $7 billion or something like that.
Well, so basically, Paramount had to pay $7 billion to cancel the contract between Netflix and Warner Brothers because there's a cancellation fee, pretty much, like a back out. I can't remember what it was called, but if it happens, then so I think it was maybe David Zaslav. Somebody got the leaked audio, but I don't know if they were like, oh, that's the plan. But what I heard was that, if it doesn't go through, hey, we got $7 billion and we get back to work. And I'm kind of like, yeah. Some people give you crap for that, but it's like, well, no, that's kind of the reality of it. Because the DOJ still has to approve this. Right. It's done, but they're okay, here, let's just go into that. Well, okay, two things. First of all, I did hear that Paramount does plan to retain Warner Brothers Discovery's creative teams, including James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Out of the way now, right?
Great news. Great news right off the bat.
If you're a big fan
DC
of the current
Studios
DC situation.
That's fair. If you aren't and you want the Snyderverse restored, it looked like there might have been a sliver of a chance for Netflix to do that because they were teasing.
Yeah, they were.
They were posting. James and Zack Snyder was posting a lot of stuff. It was interesting. I will say it was very interesting. So sorry to you guys because I don't think these guys are going to do that. They're going to keep James
move
Gunn.
on.
So, could be good news, could be bad news.
She's gone, bro. Yeah. Move on.
I just don't think. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's I feel for you. I just don't think.
No, I would move on.
Sorry. And don't get me wrong. Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and freaking Ben Affleck as Batman is my favorite. I loved it. Could have been done differently, I think, but I think it was pretty good. And but we're done now, I think. Sorry. But so that seems to be the same. They are going to, it was they're going to do 15 movies a year in theaters. They made it a point from each studio. So Paramount will do 15 movies a year, and Warner Bros. Discovery will do 15 minutes or movies a year with 45-day windows, I believe, is what it was said. Which is great because people were, people like Christopher Nolan, they were worried about
Netflix.
If Warner Bros. Discovery goes to Netflix, and Netflix is no, we'll we want to acquire the studio so we can do movies. And actually, if we get the studio, we'll put more Netflix movies in the theaters and stuff like that, which very well could have been true. But yeah, Paramount, they made an offer that was too much, and Netflix was like, it's too high to match. We're out. So, but here's what I have a list here. I had a list here. Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount, if it happens, these are some of the major ones that they get: TNT, CBS, CNN, MTV. Even though I thought MTV shut down, maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I thought I read
something about that.
Maybe they just own the right to
TCM,
it, but it's not aired right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. TCM, Showtime, Adult Swim, DC Studios, Nickelodeon, HBO Max, HBO, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, Star Trek, Gremlins, Beetlejuice, DC Comics, Tom and Jerry, Harry Potter, Citizen Kane, Transformers, Quiet Place, Looney Tunes, The Conjuring, Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, Dora the Explorer, Mission Impossible, The Lord of the Rings, SpongeBob SquarePants, Avatar The Last Airbender, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dune 3, distribution rights, Minecraft distribution rights, Monsterverse distribution rights. Those are just some listed here. It's a lot. And so people are wondering, like, will the DOJ let them? DOJ, let them, DOJ. And I don't know. I mean, they let Disney get Fox.
The thing with
they made them sell some stuff
with monopoly laws and entertainment. The argument is always that it's a finite source. I've seen a lot of these arguments before, and I've actually done case studies on them back when I actually got my bachelor's degree in legal studies.
Chris was going to be a lawyer.
Dropped out to be a YouTuber.
Now I got it.
But no, I've done some case stories on copyright law, and it's super arbitrary and open. But when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to music, TV shows, and movies, the argument that's always made is, yes, this is a lot of stuff, but it is a never-ending pool. Like, people will always be creating new things. You can't own a monopoly of something that's infinite. I
guess so.
And that's where Disney gets away with it.
Well, that's true because... Well, but they made Disney sell some of what they owned.
Did they ultimately end up making them do that?
They bought Fox. Yeah, they did.
Because this, I mean, you didn't even name everything. You just named some of the things.
No,
I
didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Big time. I don't think you said Harry Potter, which I think is in there.
Because I think it just falls under HBO.
Oh yeah, well, Harry Potter is like one of those big, huge names in there, and tons of other stuff.
Of course it is. Oh, I see. Yeah, here I do have the. Yeah, they plan to release 30 movies a year in theaters, 15 from each.
So I mean, it's a big deal.
45-day theatrical window.
It is a big deal. Probably bigger than the Fox Disney deal. Realistically, like, I'm trying to like weigh it in my head real quick.
Property wise,
like,
well, Disney's huge. Disney's
Disney's
everything under Disney, not including Marvel and Star Wars, but including them makes it even bigger. But all the Disney stuff, like Mickey Mouse and all that, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of stuff.
A big catalog.
And plus, like, you have like all the High School Musical stuff, you know, all the shows that they produce under the Disney Channel or whatever it may be. Then all the Disney kid stuff, and then ESPN. You know, Disney owns a lot.
But so that's the thing that's always interesting about it in this specific space. Let's say Disney just created and created and created and created and created and created. You can't get capped from making things. You can only get capped from buying things.
Yeah, you can make as much as you want.
So it's like it's an infinite amount of stuff. It's like, oh, well, you own all this stuff. And Disney's like, well, I don't know the actual percentage, but 45% of it we created. Like, it exists because of me. I didn't go and buy it. Now, they've bought a lot of crap, but it's such an interesting conversation.
But I think what it comes down to is like how many studios there are. Because now Disney can't come out and buy Paramount.
Right, because then there'll be two studios.
That would be like everything, right? Yeah, exactly. So I think that also has to do with it too.
The very end of Parks and Rec, they do this really funny spoof because it's like in the future, and Chris Pratt's character has a show, and they have a sponsor.
Johnny
and they have a sponsor, and it was Verizon Exxon Oatley.
But
and then it did like the whole Verizon Exxon Oatley, and it was, and at the very end it said one of America's 7 companies, and it's obviously making fun of that capitalism, but there's some truth, some real truth to that, like the things that these companies own and how few real companies that control the narrative of the economics of America. It is definitely interesting.
Well, I don't really.
We don't need to dive into that.
I could get into it. I was gonna say I don't want, because like if you look at BlackRock and everything they own, there's those few companies who it's like you don't really know, but they own like everything. It's crazy. So if you guys want to jump into a rabbit hole, look up BlackRock and what they own.
But spin it back to who you want to control. DC, for example, like really minimize it. What does it mean if Paramount owns DC for the fans?
I think it's fine. I really do think it's fine. I think they're going to keep James Gunn in place. But that actually did remind me. I'm going to jump over to Marvel now. I have a tab pulled up somewhere.
Warren's infamous tabs.
It's possible. There it is. I found it. So Disney has a new CEO.
Oh, yeah. This came out this week.
Yeah. So Disney has a new CEO. There was it's Josh D'Amaro. He's been with Disney for a while. He's a parks guy, from my understanding. So now what I've been hearing, I don't want to make this sound like Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios' job is at stake. I'm not trying to like fearmonger here or anything like that, because we've actually heard that he's sticking around for a while. Some people are like, oh, is he done after Secret Wars? Nah, he's making sure the X-Men are good. You know what I mean? Like, he's making sure the new universe is good. We've even heard he's asked the Russo brothers to stay on, and handle some project. He's bringing Dustin Daniel Cretton to direct some more stuff, who is directed Wonder Man, Shang-Chi, and is directing Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think Shang-Chi was top 3 best things to come from Marvel Phase
4 or 5
Multiverse Saga. Yeah. Well, just the Multiverse Saga.
Oh wow, yeah.
Honestly, what I would put
it's got to be Deadpool Wolverine for you, right?
Deadpool and Wolverine and
Loki
Loki
season 1 and 2 together.
Right. Yeah, and maybe I don't even like count the shows because it's a movie, and it's so different with shows and movies. So it's one of my favorites to come from the Multiverse Saga, period. And the point of me saying this is I think Dustin Daniel Cretton did an amazing job. And bringing him back, bringing the Russo brother, Kevin Feige clearly has some type of a plan, right? We don't know it, but he's always said, hey, whatever we have announced, we have 5+ years planned in the back end as well. Just, they always have more than what they've said. But there's an article by CBR, big outlet, and they do say that, I'm just going to skip down this whole article. Deadline reports Feige, along with other Disney's film producers, will report to Alan Bergman, who is now the sole chairman of Disney Entertainment. And it says, however, the report also suggests that Walden, and this is Dana Walden, was promoted to president and chief creative officer. So it says Walden and Disney's new CEO, Josh D'Amaro, may take a closer look at Marvel Studios once they settle into their new positions. Marvel Studios is notable for being the only Disney studio that hasn't been overhauled during Bob Iger's now ending tenure. With the change of leadership at Lucasfilm, and Feige has led the company since 2007, before Disney's acquisition of Marvel Entertainment, and has overseen the Marvel Cinematic Universe since its inception. So basically, they're saying like, hey, they've kind of overhauled all the other studios they own. They just did the thing with Lucasfilm. They haven't really looked at Marvel since they bought them. And basically it says that, people have talked about Marvel fatigue, and, there's obviously been some misses since Avengers Endgame. It obviously hasn't been as strong. I do think there's been some hits. Like, I know people like to talk crap about some of the bad projects, and I'm certainly guilty of that. I try to be positive, but I also have to be honest, right? So, there's been some I didn't like, but there have been genuinely a lot of projects that I have liked. And I think it goes back to Bob Chapek. He made Feige do all that for Disney Plus, and I would assume Disney would look at that and go, well, yeah, it wasn't Kevin Feige's fault. But you never know, because these are like, it's like, as someone who worked in like finance and somewhat of a corporate world, when you get to people at like the very top, like you don't just get to the top by just being like a passive, nice person. They're usually very cutthroat people. So you never know. They could go in and they could be like, well, yeah, sure, Chapek gave you the order to do that, but if you executed it better, it wouldn't have been a problem. And this is like,
exactly true. I mean? Yeah. It's not really Mr. Nice Land at the top. Exactly
say.
True.
No, it's not. It's, hey, we didn't make as much money as we should, or hey, we lost money. Exactly.
I would say something.
So, I think
I would just say something to take from the idea in general, and in the corporate world, you're always looking at, it's a bottom line. I mean, that's what it really comes down to.
Right, exactly.
But my more creative, sensitive mind, which is not the CEO of a massive company, but I think to myself, okay, well, as a fan, we've had the Feige era. We're ending out what I'm only going to assume, and I think everybody else is going to be very, very strong. We're getting the swan song for characters. We're getting closure for post-Endgame, which was rough. We're getting some really good story arcs. Some new characters are involved. We're finally getting everybody on the screen together. Great. We're moving into a new era. Do you want that new reboot to be done by somebody else just to get a fresh take? Not to say Kevin Feige's fallen off. Not to say he doesn't know what he's doing. Not to say he's old and is out of touch. But purely for the ideology of, hey, we're getting a new Iron Man, we're getting a new Captain America, we're getting a new story in a new world that's been completely rebooted. Don't you want different eyes on that anyway?
Not necessarily, because we haven't. Here's the thing: Kevin Feige started. That's where he started off with the first X-Men film as like an associate producer assistant.
20-something years
I can't
ago.
remember the exact title. Right, but that was where his journey began. And even Tom Rothman, the CEO of Sony, in that Q&A that he did this week or last week, whenever it was talking about that when he met Kevin Feige, and he talks about how much of a genius he is. I really do think. He truly, I think he's a fan.
Yeah,
that's like
he loves
one of
the characters.
biggest things. Like it's like we've talked about this before. They have like when they announce writers and directors for like these Star Wars and Marvel and DC, like all this stuff. It's just like, who are you? Like they're doing like documentaries in third world countries, and I'm not bashing that. That's great, but it's like, what are your qualifications to direct one of these biggest franchises in the world, like to direct projects? It's just like they should be hiring super fans who also know how to direct and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or writers like should have read a ton of the comics to understand these characters, or have really good ideas in their mind of what these stories are. Kevin Feige is one of those people, and I think now what like him keeping the Russo brothers around is for that specific reason as well. Like they understand the characters, and they love it. The same with Dustin Daniel Cretton. They understand their characters. Like I think Wonder Man was so different, but I did like it. If you put aside, hey, it's not really like the comics origin, and it's just a project that Marvel produced, like it's a good project. And actually I think it was Busy. I mentioned him last podcast. I think Busy said, if you think metaphorically, it actually kind of is like Wonder Man's origin, and he explained it. And I was like, that actually is kind of cool too. They couldn't do his origin because they had already passed a lot of the stuff in the MCU. So I thought it was fresh. And so I think Dustin Daniel Cretton, or Feige, looks at him and says, yeah, he's somebody who really understands this, so I'm going to keep in. I think they've actually put themselves in a good position to this next saga. Like, they have Brad Winderbaum in charge of Marvel Television now. And so Kevin Feige's just focused on it. And so I think he has all the time to really look at it. And I think he knows it needs to be different, but I think he knows the X-Men. That's where he got started. He knows the comics. I don't need somebody new.
Okay. I think that's a fair way to say it. Like, you don't need somebody new. And there is a lot more, I think, like as you're talking, I'm thinking about it as well. There's a lot more risk to them bringing in somebody new than there is to just keeping Feige.
Right.
Because, I mean, bringing in somebody new, who knows what that means? Like,
well, that's what I also think. Like, do you want somebody new to take on what could become? Because I think the Avenger or the X-Men could take the place of what the Avengers were when they started, right? So this is basically going into like a new 2008, except the X-Men are a team. So you start with a team film, and then you have this should be bigger than the start of the actual
100%.
MCU. It should be bigger. So do you want somebody new, or do you want the guy who's already done it with the Infinity Saga, crushed it, and you want him to go even bigger and better for this one? Because to me, I'd take that.
well,
Don't get me wrong.
The one thing I know for sure is it does not matter if Feige gets completely fired and sent out.
Well, sure.
No, I'm saying it doesn't matter if that happens, because whoever they put in there is still going to be sneakily texting him saying, "What do you think about this idea?" Like he will always have an opinion. Like he will forever probably even have his name. His name will be on there as a producer for every single thing that ever goes out, because he's going to have some type of involvement. So that's the one thing where I guess a big thing that nobody ever really asks is, what does he want to do? Does he want to stay with Marvel? Does he have ambition somewhere else? I know there was a while there he was interested in Star Wars and maybe was just kind of tired with the way Disney was running Marvel, because that was all the same time. Maybe he's full back on now. It's like, hey, we're getting a new storybook, and I want to be there to write the playbook.
Yeah, I think that was more along the lines of Kevin Feige did an amazing job with like Infinity War, Endgame, the end of the end of the Infinity Saga, because I think that was right around the time where they announced that, hey, he was going to produce a Star Wars movie. And I think that might have been more of Star Wars going, hey, we need your help.
Very possible.
Or Disney going, hey, do what you just did, but do it with Star Wars. I would have to think Like if you're Feige, you started with the X-Men. You can't use the X-Men when you build your new universe, first of its kind. It's crazy successful, and now you have
Everything.
all the
Even
players that
Sony's
you could
playing along
possibly
right
use
now, so you've got everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, exactly. And Sony had not, like, Tom Rothman had nothing but great things to say about Kevin Feige. He said their relationship is great. So I am inclined to believe that, yeah, like the reports that we heard, like Sony kind of like playing ball now, and yeah, they're gonna reboot their own universe, which we'll talk about. But I still think them playing ball and letting them use their characters is more likely than ever. And I think honestly, like this is like he can do whatever he wants now. I can't imagine he'd want to leave right now. Maybe 5 years from now, sure. But I can't imagine I don't know. I'd like to think he would just take another run.
Yeah, just like, hey, let's do it again. It's bigger, it's better.
He's not that.
I mean, it's not an age thing.
Right, and he's not that old. No, and you're right. He might have
other ambitions.
You know, he might inspire to do something else. But I don't know. I do know he's a super fan, so he's doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you progress beyond your dream job? And again, Kevin Feige's actually relatively elusive man. Like, there's not much conversation outside of his job that you like hear about him. So he could be getting to I just want to go and enjoy I mean, dude never needs to work again for the rest of his life. Could happily go disappear somewhere
and quit
exactly.
Right now. Yeah.
So it's not a question of, oh well, he needs to support himself. Like, dude's loaded. Congratulations, well deserved.
Yeah.
So, you know, are you done? Are you on your back nine? You're not old, but you could be done if you wanted to. It is a really curious thing, and it's a pretty important thing. And the only reason we're even sitting here talking about it now is because Disney's probably talking about it. Whether he's thinking it or not, somebody's having a discussion like, hey, at the very least, we need to look at this and see what we want to do. And that's where it's like, well, we need to know as fans, because I mean, Feige's had his name on every single Marvel project you guys have watched. You know, like there are very few. I mean, even the ones that his name's probably not on, somebody called him at some point and said, hey, what do you think about this? I mean, they did at Sony.
Right.
That's how we got Spider-Man. They called him up and they're like, we don't know what to do. You know? So, I mean, it's a big deal for Marvel fans, for all of you listening here, like, oh man, this has drug on for a while. But because it's pretty important. It's a massive backbone to the entire.
It's very important. It could completely change the future of the MCU.
100%.
Because I think now with Kevin Feige at the helm, it's like you're basically securing like at least a good future for the MCU. It could be great, could be phenomenal, but I think at least good, right? Because he knows what he's doing and he's not spread too thin now. Yeah, they've produced some bad projects, but I think that's because he was spread a little too thin. But we'll wait and see. Now, I do want to talk about there was a really big leak that came out.
There was a really big leak. Like,
really
big leak. Like this plot leak for Avengers Doomsday is one of the most, and I'm almost weary of plot leaks through our history when they're so complete and detailed. But this one was something different. Like, as I read it and reviewed it, Warren did a video on it yesterday, and it's pretty comprehensive. How are we going to tackle this? Are you going to like bullet point it, or because it's big? It's not short.
So it is big, and what I will say is there are scenes that it seems like many of the insiders have agreed on are happening in the movie. Those reports have been reported many times just throughout, I don't know, since Doomsday was announced. But as we've gotten closer to it and they filmed and everything like that, a lot of reports have come out, and there have been a few scenes or a handful of scenes where insiders have been like, they've all agreed, yes, this happens, or they've heard from different sources or the same source or whatever, yes, this happens. A lot of those are in this, right? So I'm inclined to believe those. Like in the beginning, Tobey Maguire fights Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, right? Spider-Man versus Wolverine. One thing that many people seem to agree on is that the X-Men have been through many incursions. So it makes sense that they have developed a device to destroy another planet. Right? I get that. So there's stuff like that. And then another thing that it talks about that a lot of people have been talking about as well, is that Loki is actually the one who goes to wherever Steve went back in time and stayed with Peggy and their son James, and he removes them and brings them to the Fantastic Four universe. This actually specifically said Doom goes to Reed to tell him about the incursions because he needs help. You know, he's trying to stop them. So he tells him, and then he goes like, are there any anomalies here? And they scan the world somehow, and they find Steve Rogers. And so Steve goes with them to 616, and ultimately Steve tells Thor that Loki's alive, a version of Loki's alive, and then they go to the TVA because Loki gave Steve a card to contact him with, and they go to the TVA, and everyone's dead, including Loki. How do you feel about that? Let me get your thoughts.
It's such a complicated, because there is,
because I know in the whole video I'm like, stay with me.
Well, right. So in Warren's almost 18-minute long video where he's going over this, like the entire time he's like, hold on, just wait. Like 4 or 5 times he's like, I'm gonna address this and how it connects. And obviously there's an ending to the plot leak, which I know we're gonna get to, which kind of ties the entire idea. As a human man, I'm so conflicted, right? Because there is, wow, that scene is going to make my skin crawl. Like,
oh, totally.
It'll make me very, very sad.
If we get a scene,
but it's going to be,
of course,
insane. One thing I do want to address before we move on, because there's so many different points, and this was one of the points in particular that I've actually thought back to multiple times. I'm 100% convinced Steve Rogers is in the Fantastic Four universe, by the way. Like from that footage of him with his kid, like that's him. 100%. That's Chris Evans.
That looks like him, right?
100% that is Chris Evans. I'm 100%.
So what Chris...
Oh, go ahead. No, explain it. Yeah.
I was going to say what Chris is talking about is in the Fantastic Four First Steps, like in the beginning or the end, where they show like people in their homes watching the television screen to watch the Fantastic Four cartoons or them on TV. There's a father and a son watching TV, and it really does look like the back of Chris Evans.
And his son, and it's like 10 years later. So great, that all makes sense.
Right.
I'm 100% convinced for a lot of different reasons. One, there was a secret cameo that never got revealed.
That had to be Chris Evans.
For the story of Doomsday, it makes a ton of sense. One of the things that we have consistently heard is Chris Evans's specific Captain America is heavily involved in Doom's problem, right? So him being on Doom's world makes perfect sense. 2, 3, 4, whatever point I'm at, they were going to reveal Chris Evans in the Fantastic Four post-credit scene.
Post-credit.
That's going to be where Ben Grimm and the Human Torch were going to be at a baseball game, and Chris Evans was going to be near them. And they were going to show that. And that was going to be like, oh, Chris Evans, Captain America, is in the Fantastic Four universe? Gasp! And then we would be sitting here with that information, confirmed information. I'm 100% convinced at this point. But we as a community would be sitting here talking about it. I'm very, 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 very disappointed that they took that away from us. That would be such a good conversation point for us to be sitting here going, what the heck, for the next year? And now we're sitting here talking about leaks and rumors and you know, grasping at straws to believe it. But I wish they had confirmed that he was there.
Well, I think a conversation around that would have been like, is it the same
we would have
one,
had
or
every
is it
conversation possible. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a world where there are no other heroes, and here's what I would have said. Why would they show him if it wasn't, right? Like, so we would have been having so many conversations like, oh my gosh, that's Chris Evans. Like, he's coming back. He's very important. Him going back in time.
Right.
We wouldn't necessarily know that Loki brought him over there from wherever he went. We would be saying, oh, the universe he went to was this universe. And
right. That's what we would have assumed.
And it would have been so great.
And then I think... And I think we probably would have even been like, and that universe is so advanced because Steve Rogers did something back in time. And
we would have gone down every single rabbit hole that literally could have existed.
It would have been, I think it would have been more fun that way, sure. I think I probably would have preferred that than the trailer that we got.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I saw somebody say like, they chose not to use that post-credit scene because they like it would have left it too open.
I would have loved
but
the
I mean,
openness.
so does the
Yeah.
trailer that
Yeah.
you showed us. There's no context to
no,
the trailer.
no context at all.
All we know is Steve Rogers went back and he's got
It's
a kid.
so out of context. People
which
are
we probably would have.
It's so out of context. People
anyways.
arguing if it's even going to actually be in the movie. Like, it's so out of context.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
oh no, that's
yeah.
not in the movie. And the Russo brothers had to come out and say, "Oh, these aren't trailers; they're stories." And like, it's so out of context. I think Chris Evans' reveal was somehow way more lackluster than sitting and looking at chairs for 6 hours. Like, that was hype. But then, and the trailer's cool,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it evokes
No,
feelings and it evokes emotions.
I was gonna say it's emotional,
And that's
is what
great.
It is. It's not like mind blowing.
Yeah,
it's
I wanted my
emotional.
mind blown though. I wanted my mind to be exploded.
They're building up, Chris.
And I would have just lost my mind to see that.
I mean, the X-Men.
The X-Men, and that one was mind blowing.
Cyclops
Right,
was
that one was crazy. But even that,
That was probably real quick. That was probably the actually only mind blowing one we got. The Thor one was deeply emotional. I
that one was
loved it, but it wasn't mind blowing. It wasn't mind blowing because it wasn't necessarily.
yeah,
new.
Thor's didn't need
Same
to be.
thing with Steve.
Thor's needed to be more emotional because our last interaction with Thor, people were unhappy that he was kind of a goofball.
He was
and
a
I literally
goof.
saw a clip
Right, exactly,
today.
exactly.
I was sitting in this chair 40 minutes ago waiting for Warren to jump into the Discord, and I was just flipping through X or Twitter or something, and I saw a clip from that movie, Thor
Right,
Love and Thunder, and it was the scene where Chris Pratt goes up to Thor and he's sitting on the mountain, and they're like, "We need you," and he like gets up and he's wearing this thing, and just his whole persona is so goofy. And then he like pulls Stormbreaker out of the ground and has roots, and he rides it like a broom. And I mean, it was so unserious that seeing that serious moment, you know, like it's setting the tone like real early.
Right. Oh, totally. Or even like when in that, I think it's that same battle, he takes off his shirt, it falls back on the guy behind him, you know, like the king of the llama. And then like the guys, it's almost like Mad Max, that scene, you know, which is because he was in Furiosa, but he jumps and like does a split to like stop. And he's like, yeah! Which I thought was funny, but it is so
It's very goofy.
So that's a good point. They really did need to, if anybody's watched Shoresy, set the tone.
Well, and that's what you do in sports, right?
really
You go
did
out
need
and
to
you
set
knock the
the
other team
tone
on their
for it,
ass real
yeah.
quick so that you can, hey, we're here to play.
Yeah.
And that's what Thor did. We knew
Yeah.
Thor was coming. It was the first chair in the chair video. But with Chris Evans, there have been so many, hundreds and hundreds of videos by fans on YouTube alone made dedicated to, is Chris Evans actually on the moon? Are we going to get a series?
Oh yeah, is he dead?
They
like, what
had
happened?
left
like,
that so open ended. They're worried about a post credit scene that was open ended. Chris Evans' entire career was open ended. Nobody knew what was going on with the guy, and I don't know that they knew what to do with him just yet. But this involvement that they have of him, it does not strike me as a cash grab. It's like, oh, we'll just get this guy. I think he has an integral part to do with the multiverse collapsing because he wasn't supposed to stay back. And it makes perfect sense.
It makes sense. It does make sense.
So give me that post-credit scene so that I can wildly speculate as I have been about this character for the last 4 years already anyway.
Right. Some people like, I don't know if they shot it. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure that was him on set.
Yeah.
They did something.
I think he was on set.
Right. Something had to be shot. So give us the raw footage of it. I don't care.
Yeah, I want to know, because now we're sitting here and we're speculating about a supposed plot leak combined with other insiders' information and a potential Easter egg that was in the movie. And now it's really speculative. I'm on board and I'm about it. But I wouldn't have mind having that as a post-credit scene. That would have destroyed the internet, because people would have been going on for forever trying to figure out why.
Will you be talking about it right now?
I mean, we are talking about it right now, and it didn't even happen.
And then maybe they could have given his name on a chair or not. Because imagine that
and then he's not even on the chair.
Okay, it's confirmed. He is in Doomsday, or it's not. What do you mean? Like, we saw a post-credit scene. What, he's not in Doomsday? Because we do that now about Tom Holland and like the Hulk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
and it would have brought so many questions, because if he's sitting at a baseball game with his 10-year-old son, and then they drop that same trailer and he has a baby, you're like, what is happening? What is happening?
Oh, for real. Yeah. They should have. I agree. They should have dropped it. I will pull it back to the leak real quick. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing because I know not everybody loves the leak. So that's why I'm just talking about what's already been talked about. But here's something I will say, and this is like from the comics. And that's why I don't have a problem mentioning it. And I think a lot of people expected this as well. At the end of this plot leak, it does talk about deaths and stuff like Loki dying, but we've heard that before. Doom is after Loki. And I think that makes sense story-wise. If Loki's holding things together and it's all going to collapse, he's clearly going to get kicked off the throne somehow, or Doom's going to kill him, something like that, right? But at the end of this, it says, a massive war erupts, Earths begin to collide, which we know is going to happen. We know the whole multiverse is going to get destroyed. Eventually, universes crash into each other. Everyone is destroyed except for Doom. He has the powers, and he creates Battleworld, which brings everyone back. So we talked about this, I believe, last week, was the whole question of, if you kill someone in Doomsday and bring them back in Secret Wars, is that cheap? This is a little
very
different because this is not, hey, we killed Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and now you have a variant in Secret Wars. This is, hey, we killed Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man,
resurrected him,
but he came back because the same being, the same body, the same soul, for lack of a better way to phrase it, is
Cosmic
back.
energy.
It's different. So I'm okay with it, I think.
Well, the thing that I'm glad that they're doing, talking about like open ending and not knowing. I'm really glad that it sounds like Doomsday. It's all all of that's gonna happen in Doomsday. Like they're all gonna die. They're all gonna come back in the same movie, right. Which I'm a fan of that.
So it's not like Infinity War and Endgame. And I left out. They have no memories of what happened before they believe Battleworld is all that has ever existed.
Very comic accurate.
That's comics. Again, only the people in the life rafts know.
And you're gonna assume everybody dies, excludes your Spider-Mans, your whoever else isn't there, and they're somehow somewhere else, or no? Like if they're in a raft in the quantum realm and that doesn't get destroyed, and then they somehow escape. Like I'm speaking very, very frivolously. Like I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but they're in the void or they're somewhere. Loki must have had some type of backup plan, and you'd assume that was these people.
I think in Secret Wars it'll be revealed that Loki did some stuff in Doomsday that we won't see until
I agree with that, especially since his role's gonna be pretty short.
I think something like that. I don't know if I believe that.
I think it makes sense.
No, so like I know. I mean, I don't. Short, maybe he doesn't have a lot of screen time, but I believe he's going to have great importance.
Well, the thing is, we can also see him popping up all over prior to his death. Like we're going to see him involved with Chris Evans, apparently, and so we'll have involvement with him.
Right.
And I think it's safe to say Loki's one of the most powerful beings in the MCU currently. So
100%.
Just because Loki, who's sitting on the throne, is dead, like this is the guy who spent 100 years dying every single day for 100 years straight, trying to figure out how to save the multiverse. Like he's died more than anybody at this point. He knows death. He knows. I just think he's super, 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 super powerful, and that's going to be revealed in Secret Wars, like what you were just saying. Like not so much in Doomsday though.
He doesn't. I think you're a little. I don't think he's died those times. He watched.
He went out multiple times. Didn't he go out to try to do it?
No, it was Victor. No, Victor Timely.
Yeah, but then they all explode, don't they?
Yeah, but he like leaves.
Yeah, I guess he's like the one time slipping.
Happens.
But regardless, he's like been experienced with like the death and like he understands.
Sure. Yeah. No, he did. He like studied for
like
centuries.
Centuries.
What it was. Yeah. Like, yeah, he did. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe he wasn't the one physically dying, but he's been around his friends dying every single day for 100 years.
Of course, he's seen it all. Yeah, and he can see into all those timelines.
So you're talking about one of the most powerful beings who's going to be defeated by Doctor Doom, presumably. Like, I think we're going to get a lot of Loki in Secret Wars. I hope we get a lot of Loki in Secret Wars. I don't hate the way they're lining it up, though. That there's a big battle of the TVA and Loki's going to lose. Like, I'm okay with that not being the finale of Doomsday.
Well, a giant battle where everybody goes against Doom is what I want, because I want it to be like literally everyone tried to beat him and couldn't. Or maybe not literally everyone, because I guess like if you kill Loki through it and like Toby dies and Hugh Jackman dies, and then like you have other people come back, and then at the end, I do think it would be cool to introduce like cool
variants of characters.
I'll say it every time. Tom Cruise's superior Iron Man. Right. I think it would be cool to throw some stuff, or like the Maker, right? Evil version of Reed Richards from the Ultimates universe. I think that would be really cool. Maybe that's who came. No. That's not possible, because they already had Mr. Fantastic in the Illuminati. He died. He's spaghetti.
Spaghettified. But there's like never-ending
I do think it would be
right?
cool.
So you have options for all of that.
Well, that's the thing, right? Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like when you create Battle World, it's a combination of like 40 different universes thrown into one. So we're gonna get some cool variants, cool characters.
Well, there's one super spoilery, and I suppose I'll tell you when to skip forward if you don't want to hear it, because I do want to discuss it briefly.
Okay.
All right, skip forward 30 seconds now if you don't want to hear it. I'll pause just if you're not with your phone. There's a line in the plot leak that Doom is going to kill Chris Evans, Captain America's son, in front of him.
Son? Yeah.
That is a demonstration of a character's twisted evilness and power that we have not seen in the MCU before. I'm excited to see that Doom, if that makes sense.
Do you think Marvel would go that dark?
I'm okay if they do.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
End.
I'm okay if they do. And I won't reference it again because people skip forward, and that's great. But I'm okay if they show, hey, this is Doom. Like,
well, that takes us back to the whole I want a giant army fighting him.
Well, that's right after that, right?
I want him to defeat the giant army.
And that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I want full on, because there's always a talk of like how villains should be. There's Thanos, who like believed he was right and believed he was doing the right thing. Then there's the Joker, who just wants to be evil and watch the world burn. Right, exactly. So it's like, what's better, what's not? I don't know. You know, it's all just preference. But I think you get a little of both.
100%, yeah.
I think you get a lot with Doom. That's the brilliance of his character. Like he's hurt because if he lost his family, like we don't know the backstory of his family, but I think he's lost his family, so he's hurt. If Steve Rogers caused that, he's looking for revenge, and he also gets jealous and insecure because of Reed Richards. You know, there's a lot that builds up that villainry, and I think he can take it. I think that's one thing about Doom, is he can take it to a different level than like these other people are willing to go, right? Like Reed and Tony, even they had limits. But I don't think Dr. Doom does, like, because nothing's off the table for him. He'll do whatever.
He's ruthless to the bone. And that's what's cool, is he starts off like with I'm doing this because this is the only way. This is what needs to be done. The Thanos idea. But then mixed in his motivation is the Joker. I'm just pissed off and I just want things to go to crap.
Exactly.
And he balances
I'm the smartest, and I'm going to do everything
and then
my
there's
way.
this ego to it, and then there's this very natural competition between Reed Richards, which hopefully they do a pretty good job displaying on screen. Like, ultimately, the biggest concern everybody has said significantly is that Doom is being dropped into this multiverse saga at its lowest point, and we're expecting him to just absolutely carry. But if you had to pick a character to do that, it would be Doom.
Yeah,
like, it would be Doom. Like, if you had to pick any character to do it would be Doom.
Yeah. I don't think we're at its lowest
I
point.
think maybe in the eyes of...
Maybe before Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four.
Right. Well, that was like when they've introduced him, right? At that point, they're like, hey, we need to switch directions, which Marvel claims they were doing before Jonathan Majors even had
You're
all
talking
those...
about when, like, Comic-Con.
Right. So at that point, you're dropping Doom into the storyline,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, we're going with Doom, guys, get excited. And everybody's like, oh, they're using Robert Downey Jr., and they're using Doom, and he's not going to have his backstory. Nobody knows anything about him. It sounds like they're covering all of those bases, no problem.
See, that's what I was gonna say. See, like, okay, we've said this maybe every podcast
probably
so far. On past 3 podcasts, maybe. When they announced Robert Downey Jr. Doom, I was nothing but excited. Here's the deal for me too, and this is gonna sound, I don't know if it sounds contradictory or maybe just not like me. I don't really care about box office numbers because it doesn't affect me.
No, I don't disagree.
Like, it's a conversation that sometimes you could talk about in videos. And it affects the studios, and I care because I want Marvel to do well. But if the movie's good, is really what I care about, right? If the movie's good, because I just want to go see a great Marvel movie. But at the same time, I always like, even like when the box office wasn't doing good, when the movies weren't doing good, when you really think it's like, okay, Marvel's just not doing good. And then they bring in Robert Downey Jr. and you're like, okay, what's the backstory? Also, I still don't know the answer to this question, and it does concern me. Like, these are our new Fantastic Four in the new universe. Is Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom the new Doom in the new universe? I don't know that. I won't think about it for now. But I always had faith in Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers to not make this a gimmick.
Right.
To make it something real, to make it something great, to make a great story for this. I didn't think they would do it just to do it. I didn't think it would be, hey, we're failing, let's bring back Robert Downey Jr. because that's the only thing that works. I'm sure there's a part of it that was that, right? I'm not blind to that. I'm sure there is a little bit of that. Hey, it's not working. Let's bring back Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. But hey, let's make Tony Stark Doom. But the actors will be back and everybody will love it and it'll get people excited again. Sure. But the fact that Robert Downey Jr. tried to get the Russo brothers back for a year and they said no until something clicked gave me a lot of faith. And the fact that it's just the Russo brothers were talking about during the press tours for Avengers Endgame, the only way they would come back to Marvel is to do Secret Wars.
Which is what they came back for.
which is Doom. Yeah. That gives me a lot of faith as well. Like, literally, they said, we will only come, like, what will bring it back? Secret Wars. Here we are. It's Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2, if we're being honest. You know what I mean? It's time runs out in Secret Wars is basically what.
Well, the more we dive into this, the plot, like story, the excitement, the character, the Oreos with Doom on them and everything. I think a lot of us were sold on Kang and a lot of us liked Kang. This would not have worked as well with Kang. And I say that as somebody who loved Kang. Like, replacing Doom with Kang wasn't...
Not as
it wouldn't have been like Doom is Doom. Like, this is no other way to explain it. Doom is Doom is Doom. And you can make Kang look all cool and scary. But at the end of the day, this had to be Doom.
I think the only way they could have done it with Kang is if they had him kill Ant-Man and kill other people.
Yeah.
Like, if you had a villain actually killing Avengers, like, permanently, that's how you could have done it. You could bring Ant-Man back in Secret Wars, do what you want. You know what I mean? Like, make it a variant or whatever it is. But I think that would have been the only way they could have truly made people go like, oh, crap.
Yeah, and they ruined that.
Like, this is a villain. See, that's the thing about Dr. Doom. People know he is a villain. He's also sometimes kind of a hero or anti-hero, whatever you want to call it. And you know what's funny? Marvel just recently came out with it was called, I have it on my phone because in this video titled Dr. Doom is the godfather of Valeria Richards. Also, they state the name. It is Valeria. So there's been people out there who've been giving me crap that I don't pronounce her name right. Yeah. It is Valeria. It's Valeria. No, it's freaking not. It's Valeria. I've been saying it right the entire time, and that's right from Marvel Studios. But it's funny. In there, they're like, you know, Reed is incapacitated. Sue is having Valeria. They find out that there's like some big complications, and basically both can die, Sue and Valeria. And Johnny, Sue's brother, goes and gets Dr. Doom because he's a genius, right? So Reed's not here. Like, what can I do? Who do I know? Reluctantly, Dr. Doom. So Dr. Doom comes and he's like, yeah, I'll help under one condition. I get to name the child. And he names her Valeria after his love when he was younger. And it's funny because he's the godfather to Valeria and he has a really good relationship with Valeria, and he doesn't ever try to kill her. But even in this video, they're like, but he still tries to kill the Fantastic Four. Like, after she's born, it's like, never tries to hurt her, but it's like, but I do try to kill your parents and your brother and your uncle, right? It's like,
well, that ego
like,
is
Doom
just
is a very complicated.
Yeah, that
character.
ego is something that's just you want to talk about Iron Man's ego. Oof, no, like Doom's ego is just absolutely wild.
Well, because I don't think there's a ton of insecurity with Iron Man. There is a little, obviously.
No.
But I think Doom does get
A lot
that,
of insecurity.
Reed's not better than me. You know what I mean? Like, Tony Stark's not better than me. You know, there is that. And that can really push somebody. And not in like the most sane way. You know what I mean?
Like realistically, in real psychology. And then you add that on top of the fact that it's a comic book character.
No, really. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, well, that's the great thing about a lot of, not all, but a lot of comics is like, you know, most of the stuff, like most of like character development is like real stuff. You know what I mean? Like real learning. It's not just like all made up. I mean, it technically is, but it comes from
a
real
real
world
foundation,
things, you know? Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think
like, I remember there was a 9/11 episode and they show like Spider-Man, like, oh my God, he's like, and Magneto, and they show up, but people are like, it like in the rubble, and there's like dead people in the ground, and like some of the people are like, where were you? And it's kind of like, I think if I lived in a world where superheroes were real and 9/11 happened, I would question that as well. Like, how did you let this happen? How did the superheroes let this happen? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like that, there's a lot to love about comics and superheroes in general.
Yeah, and one of the coolest things that makes it so strong is every generation there's some other little kid that loves Spider-Man, and it grows into what it is.
Right.
You know, it does continuously grow. Yeah. We watch. I mean, I was born in 1995, and I love Star Wars, which came out years before I was born. Like, my child's gonna watch that really old Iron Man movie from 2008 and go, oh man, yeah, you know.
Oh, no.
But I mean, she was born in 2025. That movie's from 2008. That was a billion years ago. Like, from her point of view, and
I know. I always joke around that my kids are gonna be like, Dad, you were born in the 80s?
like, that's gonna be wild. Like, that's so cool.
You were born in the 1900s, like your grandkids or something like that. You know
I always
mean?
like to relish. Google was launched in 1996. I was born in 1995, so I'm literally gonna be able to tell my kids I was born before Google. Imagine that. You know, like, it was always around for me, but I was born before it came out. So. But you look at that whole generational pull for superheroes, and superhero dumb even goes beyond 2000. It goes all the way back to, you know, the DC comics and all the way through for 100 years of superheroes. And it is cool to get that with this specific storyline that we're in, which is the culmination of 26 years of superhero movies. There is just such a huge amount of hype, and Doomsday is going to be something so special. This plot leak, even if 5% of it was true, like, whatever they end up giving me, I'm going to love. I will not be disappointed in Doomsday. I think it would be very, very, very difficult for them to disappoint me.
I think it's harder for them to mess it up than it is to get it right. I do
not disagree, because mostly because they have the right people on it.
Well, that's actually what I was, as I said that, I was thinking, it's like, okay, no, anybody could easily mess it up, but the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige, and plus you have to, like, you know, Robert Downey Jr.'s there, and Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, like, you know, they're giving their 2 cents in it too, because they know their characters, right? And like with Thor, like we talked about, it's like, it's a completely new character, because Chris Hemsworth said,
we're done with
Thor:
that.
Love and Thunder, if I do it again, it's gotta be a completely different tone, so it's like, it's not only that, but like, Robert Downey Jr. is not coming back for something that's crap.
He doesn't need to,
or mediocre, right? Same thing with Chris Evans. Right. And I don't think Chris Hemsworth, like those 3 people in particular right now, like, they are those characters, right? That's their legacy. Like, right. They've done great things outside of Marvel, but their legacy is those characters. They're most known for those characters. They're not going to tarnish it. They're not going to come back just to tarnish it. Unless you're Chris Evans doing a funny Deadpool and Wolverine cameo.
Well, that was pretty good too. But
that was great.
So I think your statement is right, because you're already accounting for all of the elements.
I that's what I was. I was accounting for Feige and the
just
Russos
everything,
and how much heart and how much they care about it all. Like, I think just going in with that and going in with their knowledge of comics and just the knowledge of all the stories of the MCU and their characters, it would be probably harder to make a bad movie, because they'd have to kind of go against everything they know.
Everything they know, everything the fans have been saying for the last 3 to 5 years, everything that they've been setting up. Like, there are so many, I mean, even just in the marketing of the film, we talk about this all the time. Like, they're demonstrating they figured it out. They're like, okay, we got it. And
Yeah.
that's going to reflect in
I
the
love it.
production of the film. That's going to reflect in the quality of the film. So yeah, here we are. Get the fireworks ready. You know, throw Tinkerbell at the top of the Disney castle. Let's get going because I mean, at this point, we're gonna talk about Doomsday every single week until it comes out. Like that's just gonna happen.
Of course.
But when it comes out,
well, so much happens every week.
like it's just like Spider-Man No Way Home. Like we knew basically everything about Spider-Man No Way Home. And that was still one of the best movie theater experiences of my life. Like it was so crazy to like see it all come to fruition. And this plot leak that we were discussing today, if you guys genuinely want to hear the whole thing, first off, it's on the internet all over the place. But Warren did a video. What was it called? Probably major plot leak revealed. It was yesterday.
Something about a full plot.
Go watch it if you're not like super worried about spoilers. If you're not one of those person, because it will give you a really good idea of what this movie could be, even if none of it's true. I feel like a decent amount of it probably is, but you're gonna feel that excitement, and that's really kind of what I'm about. Like I'm kind of bouncing about it. It's really really cool. Super super excited to see where we're going with this.
Yeah, me too. So we'll be back next week talking about it.
That is for sure.
Pretty much, yeah. But we try to talk about the other stuff that's going on. I am curious to see how the Paramount thing is going to go. If they're going to let it go through.
There'll be a lot of back and forth for several months.
That's a really big thing,
and it'll be interesting to see, you know, how that ultimately ends up affecting. Everything. We're literally
all those properties.
Hulu's turning into Disney Plus, and down the road, HBO Max is turning into Paramount Plus, and we're gonna run out of all these subscriptions, and then they're gonna triple prices, and it's gonna have a huge effect. And the entire future of the movie industry is currently in the balance as to like how is it going to be regulated? How is it going to change 10 years from now? It's going to be very different. We're in the streaming wars for the last 5 years or so, but it's going to have a resolution. Somebody's going to come up with some idea. This is going to change everything. So curious. And when you have that many titles, you're in line for that. So it is super pertinent to what we generally talk about. Sometimes we do fun little games and stuff, but I think it's pretty crazy. Your CVA Hunter word for today is monopoly.
Oh, there you go. Monopoly. If you made it this far, you're a champion.
Made it this far, you're a champion.
We love you.
CVA Hunter word is monopoly. But let us know what you think. Any topics you'd like us to bring up in episode 30, dyslexic, 24.
24?
Yep, 24.
Yeah.
Episode 24 next week. And maybe we'll get a couple top fives or something in that episode as well, because we enjoy doing this.
We'll get some segments going again, for sure.
Boom. Subscribe,
right,
like,
guys.
share, send to your friends, leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. Monopoly, goodbye.